Aloha and welcome to Salt of the Earth. I'm Veruschka. I'm a healing arts coach on the Big Island of Hawaii. And today I'm speaking to a new friend on the other side of the island. His name is Malama. We met at a retreat center early on this year, and he is an amazing Qigong teacher, which I'm sure he's going to chat about some more with a wonderful sense of humor. And I really value his history, and we connected on a bit of our struggles with the spiritual path and dealing with life day to day. And I thought it would be just wonderful to have this conversation from a former monk. Malama actually is a Lama, and we'll find out a little more about that. And he was also given an Hawaiian name of Malama, which means to care for. So it's a pretty fun play on words there, but it's one of my favorite words in the Hawaiian language. So Malama, I welcome you to Salt of the Earth, and please introduce yourself, how you introduce yourself with your name, and how do you refer to yourself and who you are being and what you're doing in the world. Welcome, Malama.
Aloha, and thank you so much, Veruschka. I call myself, for myself, Kalani Kunui Akea Kauki Ka Malama Lama Thornton Earl Chamberlin Jr. However, Malama works, and it's pretty simple and to the point. And Malama the ocean, Malama Kekai, Malama the earth, Malama Ka'aina, Malama Ku'uohana, take care of your loved ones, your family. There's a lot to do out there and in here. So one grain in the salt of the earth is not too many to have on screen, is it? Here we are. And unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, over to you, Veruschka.
Well, I would really love to hear about your story of what brought you to become a monk, and what were your circumstances, and a little bit about your experience and where did you go?
Okay.
The road is right behind Malama, so please pardon the cars.
Well, that was also a big truck that you just called in, so let's see. An unhappy childhood. Whoa, listen to that one go by. As a son of an alcoholic father, I never really relaxed because I was always on guard. And then after my father's transition from this plane, which further punctuated the situation, I decided to become a monk and leave it all behind. Good luck. So the big discovery on that, I was 25. So the big discovery on that is that it goes with you, and even spending 5 years in India and sitting in caves of renown where great siddhas and accomplished ones of the past have meditated, and doing an extended 3.5 years retreat in France, led me to the conviction that it's all portable and it's an inside job. So I describe it now with open eyes as an enormous spiritual bypass to not confront or go through my own pain and dark sides. So it's it's ketchup. Shake and shake the ketchup bottle, nothing comes, and then a lottle.
And is it also a double entendre of playing catch up with things that you didn't deal with in the first place?
If I stop, or anybody stops, just stops, it'll show up. We can't stop. We're just so busy. So meditating your troubles away works for a little bit until you get to the insight part, you know. So ultimately, no inside, no outside. And that's an insight. How can I assist you in this interview here? What do we want to go on springboard into?
Well, what led you or caused you to leave that formal path?
Sorry, say it again.
What caused you to leave your formal path of being a monk? Like, where were you at, and what was your feeling about yourself when you decided to depart?
Sexuality.
And have you ever had judgment about yourself for should have stayed on a certain path, or did you feel like you gave in, or what judgments or beliefs did you have about your decisions?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know, but the Hawaiian point of view is look forward. Imua.
So if you were to encounter a young man at this time, or middle-aged man who wants to become a monk, what would you advise?
Find a spiritual friend.
Do you think in this day and age that that people will benefit from having a teacher, or do you feel like a friend is more valuable than a teacher?
From the awakened state that is manifesting from so many of our brothers and sisters, I would say a spiritual friend is of the first tantamount importance. And if you need a teacher, it will happen. It may not be your spiritual friend, but your spiritual friend can put you in the track where you find what it is you're looking for. Ultimately, the seeker, the object sought, and the seeking are the same thing. So it's a gecko with his tail in the mouth, you know.
Right. So even with all of your expertise and experience, what do you feel like are some
Whoa, wait a minute. That's good words. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. What do I think about?
what are some of your biggest struggles right now that you are judging?
Troubles?
Troubles.
Struggles. Keeping a soft belly and an open heart, and to simply show up without an agenda, and be open to outcomes.
Do you feel like living in Hawaii lends itself more to that type of attitude or flow or lifestyle?
If if you don't if you don't mind having hot feet from living on a volcano, uh, it definitely does. Some people perceive a spiritual shield of protection around these islands. After all, they are 2,500 miles from anything, on all sides surrounded by the glorious ocean. And even the name Hawaii has a magical effect. So it's a very ripe field for projection.
So it's part of, let's put it that way, I think, of the slowing down, at least from the Western mentality and Western pace, right?
Absolutely.
So do you feel like you have any kind of ambitions or desires right now?
None.
None?
None whatsoever.
There's
Absolutely nothing. If it did, it would be to sit in circle with friends and talk story.
So what advice would you give to someone who's really suffering right now and is really feels like they're doing everything right and they're on their path, and they're still struggling. They feel like nothing they've done has been worthwhile, or that that they've failed on their spiritual path.
So that's the background, bringing them or us, anyone, up to the present moment. And normally these feelings, we want to, at least in my case, I want to stop the bad feelings. I want to escape them. I wish they would go away. And so that's, in a metaphor, it's to get out of that. And the only way that I've found to get out is to go through. Through is the way I'm looking at it, because it's so constantly changing. I just have to show up and pay attention.
And do you have any tools that you can share, how you can have the courage to actually face those hard things to get through them?
Well, I'm a landscaper in a well-known bed and breakfast here, and I take care of the grounds. And as I went into the washroom the other day, I saw Mel Robbins' book called The Five Seconds or something like this. And if the minute and a half that I read the book in is anything, it's to find courage in the moment. So finding courage is life affirming, and life affirmation is breathing in. And observing where the breath is coming, how it is, and what its effects are is already something in addition to what we thought was happening a moment ago.
So connecting to your breath, if you can remember to breathe while you're feeling, or the hard identification.
Well, if you don't, you're going to be laying down anyway. You know, if you don't breathe, that's another story. But awareness of it, it's the awareness of the breath.
Mhm.
The awareness of the breath is like, where is awareness?
Mhm.
It's in our heart, but it doesn't live there. It's not encompassed by the heart.
Mhm.
It's it looks through the heart with the eyes, and but it's not the objects that we're looking at. It's the awareness of the objects that's coming from the heart through the eyes. So it's like being behind your head or something.
Mhm. Being the observer.
Yeah, that's Ken Wilber says it's it's being where your head used to be. So an observer still entails an observer and an object observed and the process of observing. But if I don't know, when I check that one out about being where my head used to be, something falls apart, which is quite nice. The hamster wheel stops turning.
Mhm. So can I ask you how you relate to awareness or God or source? What's your relationship and how do you define it for yourself?
Yes,
Yes?
that's my relationship. Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Just being in the word of yes, of openness? Or
yes,
all of the above?
yes.
So I just read something really awe-inspiring, and that was some literal translations of some Russian words that didn't really know about, and it sort of blew my mind. But I feel like it's opening new parts of my awareness. Is that the word for God in Russian literally means year, like the yearly cycle. That God is all of the full expressions of all of every season, and that was just such a, it's like poetry to frame it and experience and relate to God or source in that way.
Wow, that's big.
I know.
All year. Yeah. In Hawaiian, uh, it's I. That's that's the word for God.
Wow, I never.
And yeah, yeah. E, Eo. So the heavenly hawk or the messenger of God is called it's the Hawaiian hawk. Well, it's the spirit of that. I mean, we don't. It's a totem,
Right.
right? Yeah, yeah. So whoever thought that I would be God?
Very interesting. The way that awareness is open up and shift by just like shifting, the kaleidoscope a little bit, and seeing new imagery so it can sink in a little differently. So, what is your worst fear right now?
My what?
Worst fear.
I don't have any fears. Really. I am fearless.
Wow.
I'm also very vulnerable. It's a trade-off.
Yeah. And some people might choose to have fear over being vulnerable because they're afraid of being vulnerable. They feel like they might not survive it.
They might not,
It's dangerous.
but
Dangerous.
something it's Don't do it. Unless you really want it,
So
I heard I heard I
go ahead.
heard a story about a guy who he had his hair on fire, and he was headed for the lake as fast as he could. And somebody invited him for a cappuccino, and he just didn't have time because his hair was on fire. It's something like that. A burning desire.
Now, no distraction. So I was also thinking recently a lot about the masculine consciousness in this day and age, and it's been on my radar a lot lately that the suicide rates for males in the United States and Australia at least are, are at an all-time high. And what do you feel like, if you had a message for the males that are feeling that desperate and that desperation right now, what do you wish you could share with those individuals?
I'm not really sure about a message. I can relate my personal experience.
Or maybe what they're needing. What do you think they're needing?
Yeah, well, I can only say what I needed and couldn't get for myself when my father committed suicide at the onset of my first year in high school, and testosterone at age 12. And what I needed was an anchor and a perspective. And by surviving that experience and living through it with my mom, I came, just because I think we're all innately highly spiritual beings, I came to the real, just direct perception that when you kill the body, you're missing it. You kill just the wrong thing. The body's not guilty. The body's innocent. It has its ways, and it looks out for itself. But it's the home for something else that is our job to culture and nourish in ourselves. And then, of course, we just love other people who are created in our and divine images. So sharing is enrichment. And the advice is, maybe it is actually your karmic path to take your own life. Maybe. I can't say it. Nobody can say it. There are things that are said that it's detrimental to your own growth. And if someone's considering that, they might want to consider also who they're leaving behind and the repercussions of their actions. And it's rather selfish in that context. So a balsam, a cooling, soothing balm that could be rubbed on a chafed and sorely worn being is loving kindness or friendship.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the challenge. People feel so disconnected in this day and age that they have too much shame to reach out to really share what's going on with them because they feel so isolated. And I think that's a big deal that they don't have someone that they trust to connect with, that it is that lack of connection and isolation, and that they just don't have a way out of whatever weights that they came here with are in. Why do you think it's affecting men more so psychologically?
Because the women are waking up fast. And, you know, when I was younger, they said, oh, well, the girls are a little smarter at this age than you boys, but you'll catch up. But the truth is that was only half true. We never catch up. And I forgot about that. So uh, the women are lighting up their crowns rapidly. So I think we can pick up on that and support them.
So then what are from women? What is the masculine?
Say again?
What is the masculine psyche needing from women?
Friendship.
You think that's possible for immature men?
Well, maybe they can just put arrows in the backpack for a while and you know, put it on hold or recognize it as it is and check your agendas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you feel like you would want to give women a message right now of how to teach men for their highest good?
I totally believe that they know intuitively, and it's not something a male mind can encapsulate. What a woman, every woman that I've ever known, what a woman will know is when your heart is open or not.
Mm-hmm.
So
that they have that.
You know, here's a short, I hope short, it's illustrative story of that point. In Buddhism, you take refuge. And for me, at that point in time, yeah, man, wrap my body in colored clothes, anything you want, just stop the pain. Okay. So you can do this, follow these are the rules. Okay, good. We'll take care of you. That is a beautiful overture. But what it's a means. It's the means, and the ultimate teachings are coming down to open your heart and feel openness. And if you can even mirror openness, you'll feel it.
What are some ways to open your heart? And how do you share that with for instance, Qigong?
Love, water, and money and energy all follow the same patterns. They fill up what is empty and take away from what is too much, and they seek the lowest place. So if you take refuge, just to finish that last one, if you take refuge, at my place it was running away. If I take refuge now, which I do, the same formula, the same words, it means there's nowhere left to run. You just can't run. You can go into your heart and you can resist. It's an option. So it's kind of like a little introverted joke of, Okay, you run into your heart. How's that feel? Oh, that feels pretty good. You know, how do you feel? Well, it feels pretty good. And we're off in another now.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest lesson you learned this year?
Sound distortion, say again?
What do you think your biggest lesson has been this year or this week that's been revolutionary for you?
If I feed the birds, they come. All kinds. And the word spreads.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure your ladder is stable before you go climbing up.
That's right there. Very profound.
Well, as I told you before the interview, the wind just blew a piece of the roof off, and it's nowhere to be found. So I guess I would add something to that, like stabilize your work, you know, or plan for impermanence. You know.
What's your current motto?
Current what?
Motto.
Motto?
Motto.
Listen.
That's a big one. That certainly is a big one.
I hear birds singing. Does that come across?
Yeah, it's very, very loud.
Oh, okay, good.
I can tell they're Hawaiian birds. So, how long?
How can you tell they're Hawaiian birds?
I can understand their accent. I recognize their accent.
Okay.
So do you feel like you live in one of the best places in this world?
Yes. I qualify that. What's the criteria? My criteria.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? That would be kind of the criteria.
There's no place else in the world that I would rather be.
Oh. Yeah, that's a fine place then.
Truth is not always kind, and comfort is not freedom. You know, so I keep dancing from foot to foot because it gets hot on that volcano. You know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. So do you feel like that you have any kind of role to play in your life as far as being of service or connecting to other people? Do you have any kind of pressure in you that feels like you have a mission or that you're on some sort of mission?
Well, the only thing that seems to be consistent is my mouth moving. So I just kind of do some internal editing and give it the best. Otherwise, keep silent and see where it goes.
That made my nose itch.
You guys are living right next to the flow.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're just over here where it rumbles and shakes. So I'm looking as a source, talking to source here. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, if you have any dream or discernment or being a messenger or model to the masculine?
It was a little bit garbled, but I got models of service.
Yeah,
Models.
to the masculine. Do you feel like you have?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Elders. They're not putting themselves out there on YouTube. They're in their element, and they're everywhere around here.
Mhm.
Talk to the elders.
Do you think in our Western culture that that's not very revered? Do you feel like you receive the respect that you feel like people could be receiving support from your life experience and life knowledge? Do you feel like it's being utilized, or do you see it being displayed that people have connections and reverence for their elders?
I'm seeing and feeling that I understood that question twofold. One is personally, and the answer to that is how much respect do I allow myself to receive before I turn away inwardly. And working with that turning away, that denial, that's where it is. That's what's happening. And so that's a self-fulfilling prophecy in that sense.
Right.
As far as our ohana, or our extended family, which in this case it was gender specific. I heard you say men or all.
At this point, gender specific.
Okay, then that would be ohana,
Right.
your family,
Yeah.
and that the roots of Hawaiian. I mean, this is just not a new fad that's is hyping for something, but the language of the ones who were here before, the host culture on this island, has three major turnkey words that open doors. That's aloha, mahalo, and ohana. And they all have in their crux, in their core, in their essence, the ha, which is the breath of life that we share consciously and unconsciously. So aloha is I love you, hello, and goodbye. Not necessarily in that order. And ohana are the ones who are connected to the source. In this case, the oha come from the taro plant. They're the little tiny taro plants that only grow large when they're separated from the mother and grow on their own and then grow their own little oha. That's an extended family as manifested by the taro, which, in case you haven't seen it, has a heart-shaped leaf. And mahalo is closest translated is thank you. But there is no you're welcome, because it's understood. Of course you're welcome. You know? Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. No. Mahalo. No trouble. You know?
Well, I mean, do you feel like mahalo is my favorite word, by the way, and honestly, it is the answer to everything. If I can have the grace to be in appreciation and in that state of mahalo. I haven't been in mahalo here for lack of having my elders you know, I really was hoping that I would find the correct Hawaiian teachers or hula teachers. I do have an amazing kumu and Kauai, and yet I assumed I would naturally find the teachers I've been looking for, and I have not here. So been a good like and be living in Ohana or community, and you know, do you experience yourself as being utilized as an elder or being connected to as an elder? I'm just curious.
Well, if I'm in the experience, like the river, then I'm not on the bank analyzing it. So I'm going to step out of the experience, which I tend to do as much as possible, step into the river, and it's just changing all the time. It's flowing. So that's a very interesting question. That's just a deep one that I'm thinking, wondering about it will be more fruitful than saying something about it. That would be a question to take in deeply. Would you say that again?
Yes, I'm actually having kind of a rephrase in my mind about it right now. Is that I'm wondering if our culture that you and I probably have grown up in really even know that they need elders. Maybe they don't even know how to make a bridge to cultivate connections like that, or to reach out like that.
Well, connect the dots, and one grain of sand to another. Who are you? Okay. We know Ramana and Papaji, they all were very keen on this question. Who am I? And for a Hawaiian, for an indigenous mind, who am I means I am the living embodiment of my ancestors. So you can say truthfully, I am this and son of this and son of this and son of this. For example, indigenous people, one person in every family is obliged to be able to chant their lineage back to the beginning. There's one who is the caretaker, the holder of that one, of that family. And Halimakua, who is one of the widely revered elders for his massive aloha, said, you don't know who you are until you find out and investigate your parents and your relatives and your relationships, because we are the pot, the calabash into which all of this is poured, plus in that is unresolved issues, particularly fear. And our homework is to simply eliminate the vibration of fear. They were able to give us life and it's passed down, but they were unable to resolve this issue of fear because it's still present.
Mm-hmm.
So investigating this, in one case, an orphan, just following these threads of life called aka cords, she was able to trace back and find her birth mother. No records, nothing. She was able to just received signs under the guidance of Halimakua, and she did her PhD thesis on documenting this. So it's printed, and if that's the way somebody wants to look at it, but you got the connections. Talk to your old folks if you can.
I like that illustration of the calabash.
Yeah.
I think people really don't feel, if they don't feel like there's curiosity about them, where people are coming to you for questions, or coming to you for answers, or coming to you with questions, I think that that a lot of people feel isolation or disconnection when there is not an opportunity for the giving and receiving and the inquiry. Do you feel like people are just too caught up in their own fear in themselves? They are afraid to reach out and ask and show curiosity?
I'm going to respond to that in a different way, in that all of that, and create a setting, an environment where people can bring all of that they have, and they can bring it in and feel safe and interact together. So Hawaiians slap the kids around quite a lot. Not supposed to do it in public and all of this. But what Tutu, what Grandma did, was when a kid would act up, she said, "Hey, go outside and take the rock out of your calabash." So that's referencing the myth where every being is born with a calabash of light. And that calabash is a sacred space in your heart where no one is allowed. No one. Not even you. That belongs to God. And so if you have a calabash and you put rocks in it, you just can't get much light in there. Plus it's heavier, right? So Tutu tells you, hey, go take out the rocks, then come inside, you know? Okay, good advice. We haven't gotten that one, you know? So I would say, fast forward to now, set the place like this. Like exactly, this is the first step.
Well,
have a meeting.
Finding safe connections, I think, is a challenge for people too, and feeling safe if that's not what we've had in our lives. You know, feeling like you can trust or be safe with someone, query or your feelings. And do you currently have any elders in your life yourself?
Well, yes. I have a living adoptive father, and Halimakua was and continues to remain my kupuna, my spiritual guide. And it's not an ongoing presence. I simply do my best to remember what he told me and how it is in this body at this moment. And it's good. I even, just for my own edification, weaved a lot of his wisdom and teaching into a dance of universal peace. So sometimes when we get together after a Qigong class, we'll do the Aloha dance. And that's fun, you know. Simple steps, clapping and singing, just like the old days, you know, when, yeah.
simple, present, playfulness, connection.
Simple.
So I have a question for you. What does salt of the earth mean to you? How does that show up in your body, in your heart?
Is it pink Himalayan crystal salt, or is it Morton's?
Only you know what comes up. I would imagine Hawaiian sea salt.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. At the canoe club one year, we were giving trophies that were little pieces of little bits of salt that were gathered at the salt flats down here, wrapped in a tea leaf with a nice little ribbon on it. That was good salt. Salt of the earth, salt of the sea.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we are coming to a natural close in you know, it's very active meditation talking to a Lama. We always come back to silence, and we always come back to silence, and we always come back to the present. That my mind.
How many L's? How many L's in that Lama?
I hope just one.
Yeah. It was funny when Holly Makua gave me that name before he met me. So.
How were you interacting on email, or how did he already give you the name before meeting you?
I was with a woman who is a sound healer, and her name is Judith Kahealani Lynn, and she's currently in Portland. And she mentioned his name, and I had heard for quite some time this name in the wings, very soft spoken. So I said, there's somebody I'd like to meet. So it happened, and we did a lot of work together.
And you want to share that moment where he gives you your name?
It was on a piece of paper, and it means Kaukihi ka Malama Lama is the full name, and it basically is another epithet. It's another. The moon has many names in Hawaiian. Not the least of which is Mahina, but there are other moons, and this one is characterizing the moon as holding the light or reflecting the light in the absence of the sun. That's one of the jobs that the moon does. It holds the light, except for one day, and then it grows and waxes. So it is literally placed at an angle to the sun. That's how they set it up in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
But Malama Lama is also the light of knowledge. Lama is light.
Mm.
It's a funny a coincidence.
Yeah. And not a coincidence, right?
I had dropped all names after leaving 28 years and then coming back to Hawaii and pushing restart, and then it starts again. So I think, oh, okay, you know.
So I have a question for you. Do you are you available to have open chats with anyone who is going through things and just wishes to have a friend to share with?
Yes. Yeah. That would be just fine.
Beautiful. I think that you would have a lot to offer in listening to someone who may be afraid to reach out. Some present, some solid, seasoned present.
Okay.
I know you put out a lot of aloha where you are, and you're very approachable, and I appreciate that about you. You have a very laughing, warm presence about you. I know it's a little scary to just like be on video like this, but I feel like you're really approachable, and I think it's so lovely and wonderful that you do radiate that aloha, and I think anyone would be really lucky to have you lend a present ear.
Well, I only have one ear. The other one got skull fractured, a traumatic brain injury on Nimitz Highway in 1967 on July 4th. Whoa, okay. Independence Day. So it's damaged goods, but, you know, we're working on it.
An independent ear.
Yeah. I got one good ear and it's on you. Okay?
There you go. Well,
All right.
thank you so much, Malama, for sharing. And I look forward to doing some more Qigong with you and sitting in circle with you. Always enjoy an open heart.
Let's create circles. That's great. Absolutely. You know, a little movement, some breathing, talk story. Yeah.
All right. Well, blessings on your day, and thank you for showing up today, and big aloha.
Aloha. Always best aloha.
Always best aloha.
Take care.
Take care.